Right before we jump into our weather forecast, I want to say a big thank you to the students at Valley Christian for inviting me out there yesterday. I spoke with their first graders, a couple lovely classes, answered all their questions about weather, had a few experiments to hand around, including the classic tornado tube. I will say my favorite question was, how is hail formed? And that's a very smart question for these very smart first graders. So thank you so much for inviting me out there. It was such a blast to see you yesterday. All right, let's get into our weather forecast for today because we do have a lot to cover here. We have quite the storm system that is inbound starting Friday night, and all that rain is going to stay here all weekend long. So let's start to jump into it. We'll start with our satellite radar combination. The satellite seeing the cloud cover that is encroaching on the inland northwest. Most of this is mid-layer cloud cover and no rain coming out of this just yet, though it ends up a bit cloudier today, say, compared to yesterday. Wider view shows where the cold front is. This is where the rain will be, and that's that first and initial shot of rainfall, which will arrive Friday night. Remember, I've been saying, Friday PM, could be afternoon, could be evening, starting to lean way more into the evening hours in terms of when that rainfall finally does arrive. So here's noon on Friday, still dry through a majority of the inland northwest. Looking at areas closer towards Omak and then the Cascades will get rain by noon Friday. Here's about 9 p.m., 10 p.m. at night. Now we start to see these scattered showers arrive around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. So that will be that initial push, probably more in the evening hours after dark. And that leads us into a much more wet and colder weekend, of course. Here's 2 p.m. Saturday, so about the midday or early afternoon hours, here's another wave of rainfall. I don't think it's going to rain all 24 hours on Saturday, but this bout of rain does appear to be the heaviest that we'll experience between Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, and then we just fill in the gaps with more scattered showers, just kind of trickling for the rest of the weekend. Total amount of rain, around a ½ an inch in those rain gauges by the end of the weekend. Most of that falling Friday night, hopefully while we're sleeping, and then in the middle of the day, Saturday, which should be our wettest day out of those next 3-4 days. So a pretty wet and a much colder weekend ahead. We'll squeeze out one more 60-degree day on Friday, and then high temperatures are upper 40s starting Sunday.